form of customization, you will be able to have variety in his look, but we didn't want to go with a full like makeup type of thing where you're cool to play and impersonate. But at the same time, we're giving flexibility. So
of course, Chicago also 2 feds. Of course, Chicago one of the Great Lakes. I think it's Lake Michigan. And crisscrossed by these canals, just one of the many forms of transit. Besides, flying a helicopter in a city. No? All right, that's fair. Besides, flying a helicopter in a city, come on. Multi-platform sort of capabilities. I mean, Watch Dogs is slated to come to the Wii. Multi-platform sort of capabilities. I mean, Watch Dogs is slated to come to the Wii U.
Can you control? Is it working now? Nope. All right, well then tell us what Chrono Blade is all about.
I can talk over the trailer if you want.
Cool.
I think you guys have it on video 1.
Well then, hopefully they will toss Ryan the controller. Here we go. He's coming to grab it, and it looks like... Why don't you guys try to put up the trailer real quick, and hopefully that will come up.
Okay.
That's all we can do from here. There we go. Here it comes.
So, Ouya.
Oh, unless that's just the boot screen for the Ouya.
So Chrono Blade is the action RPG side-scroller brawler game that puts you in the role of a interdimensional champion fighting against a technological menace called the Chronarch Imperium that are destroying all the worlds of the multiverse.
Interdimensional. They're not just destroying planets, they're destroying like entire dimensions.
Entire existences folding up and packing it.
That's not cool, man. Dang computers.
Right?
Alright, so this is the computer's transdimensional ship, or is that your ride? Nope, that looks sinister. Those are bad guys.
Yep, these are the bad guys. Here they are kind of cruising into a planet to take over. And their main foot soldiers are these guys we call the Wedgeheads, the Chronarch soldiers.
Where did you get that name from? That is totally out of the blue. It's so strange.
Right? It just came to us. And they're led by this enigmatic figure called the Empress.
Uh-huh.
And that was...
And so those are the forces arrayed against you. Who were you, intrepid hero, to stand against the Chronarch Imperium? Did I say that right?
Absolutely. So, as a member of the Pact, which is the union of these champions from different dimensions, you're the most powerful warrior from your reality, and you've ganged up with all the other heroes to try to fight together against them. And everybody kind of brings their own abilities and powers to bear. What we're watching right now is Auroch. He's our main pugilist punching guy, and you can probably tell what he specializes in.
Yeah, that is a whole lot of punching. His fists are like twice the size of his head. 3 times?
Yeah.
It's a good ratio for a puncher.
And then this is Loafie. We call her a shadow summoner. She's kind of an interdimensional hunter, hopper person. She summons beasties and rocks to fall on your enemies and turns them into stuff. And
nice. So maybe I mean, we see her doing some melee attacks here, but she's also got a little bit, maybe keeping in that range a little.
Yeah, she's more of like a player-based AoE and also targeted AoE player.
Uh-huh.
Kind of medium range. And then Auroch is definitely like a heavy hitter, single target war machine.
Now these are two of the playable characters, or the 2 playable characters?
Right now we only have these 2 available, but we've got 4 slated to come out soon.
Okay, from champions from other dimensions.
Absolutely.
Now it's interesting because the aesthetic of the Chronarch Imperium we saw in that first trailer seems to it's decidedly different from the guy, the pugilists there. He seemed more of a brute barbarian. His society did not seem to be one that was ruled by machines.
Absolutely, and that's one of the things that we're really excited about with Chrono Blade, is that we're going to allow players to kind of travel through all these different worlds, collect gear from them. Their characters will sort of be reimagined as they go to steampunk or cyberpunk or Mad Max themed places, and you'll be able to mix and match parts from them, just like any other awesome item-based RPG.
So the characters themselves will change to fit the dimensions you travel to, or you'll just gain new loot there that you can then change your look when you go to the travel there?
Right now we're talking about new loot. You get things that look like they're from that place. So when you go to steampunk, Auroch will be more of like a bouncer bruiser guy maybe.
Or with a monocle, I hope.
Oh, absolutely. Ah, yeah. Somebody write that down.
And, so Steampunk, you talked about Mad Max, a pertinent reference given yesterday's reveal of there's totally a Mad Max video game because...
Yeah, we're totally excited about that. That's pretty cool.
Are you stoked about it? I also read up that there's a new Mad Max movie in production. I did not know that. But Chrono Blade, so you guys are coming to the Ouya, and that's, you said it's a platform that's easy for developers to put their games on. Is that what drew you to that platform? Did it sort of present a nice opportunity for you to take your vision there, or did it just seem like, the Ouya has recently, launched it's through the Kickstarter program, very successful, and, getting a lot of sort of good groundswell among developers because of that ease. Is that sort of what drew you guys to it?
That's definitely part of it. We definitely knew ahead of time that we wanted people to be playing in co-op and PvP, and controllers are something that we sort of designed the controls around. You got 4 abilities, 4 items, so that we can map it easily to a controller. And the Ouya specifically was really helpful for us because it's kind of an open market. It's free-to-play model that we use, and so it works really well with the way that they've set up their system.
All right, so talk a little bit about free-to-play model, because that's been huge on PCs for years now, and actually it looks like we're seeing some gameplay on screen. So forget that free-to-play nonsense. Tell me what's going on the screen, and we'll talk about free-to-play later.
Cool. So
Loot.
This is Loafie running around grabbing some items real quick. This is our initial demo for Ouya. And it's basically a survival mode that you can play with 1 or 2 players right now. So Loafie's here she's got her 4 abilities that you can see down there on the right, and her 4 items that are mapped to the arrow buttons there on the left. And you can probably recognize the health and energy orbs.
Red and blue. There's something about those. A little familiar. And this is but you are just straight beating up these dudes and comboing together your attacks. And are these abilities don't appear to be on any kind of cooldown. They're just kind of well, actually there we go. I'm seeing cooldown meters there. So
everything that you're seeing right now is basically a core attack. So none of those take energy. They don't have cooldowns. But if he hits the L1, L2, yeah, that's a special ability, and they're sort of situational, really helpful to continue your combos.
Yeah, and those skills are based on a skill tree, so you'll be able to customize your character very minutely by going there and deciding what you're going to use.
And what is this? I don't want to call it a soccer ball that's floating over her shoulder, but it's that little black and white familiar. What is that little guy there?
So we call this an Eidolon. It's actually a creature that's sort of a companion to Loafie, whose name is Not, and the powers of that creature sort of change based on different items that you give to it that change what it looks like and how it works.
All right, now all this punchy, kicky, Eidolon smashing. This, obviously you've got to sort of survive in this area. Loafie is making pretty short work of these guys who are standing in her way. How does the challenge level sort of ramp up here in Chrono Blade as you combo your way through?
Well, these guys are obviously the introduction characters, but eventually you run into guys who will, and you'll run into them here pretty quick. They'll shoot at you, throw down grenades. They'll block you. We have a light attack, heavy attack, block breaking abilities. We got dodging, and so you really are going to be forced to use all of those things in order to get further along in the game. We really wanted to push a skill-based kind of Twitch-style combat system with this, something kind of like you might play in an arcade with your friends.
Yeah, and actually, that health is looking pretty low, so clearly some of these guys are putting up a good fight, and now we see the flashing red orb of doom, and will the demoer die during a live gameplay demo?
Oh, absolutely is going to, because it's survival mode, but...
Death is inevitable in survival mode, despite what the name may imply. But hopefully we'll get a little more score out of this. And survival mode, sometimes that's about surviving a certain amount of waves. Sometimes that's about chasing a score. Is all that stuff sort of core to this mode here in Chrono Blade?
Yeah, there's lots of different gameplay modes that we have, including on Ouya we have multiplayer, which is pretty cool.
And what do you mean by multiplayer? Because we talked about cooperative two-player. You know, one person being this character, the other one being the Aurochs. Auroch. What do you mean by multiplayer? Tell me.
So we tend to have both eventually on every platform that we go to. That's sort of one of the things that we built this game around. But right now, what's in the Ouya?
Right now we have the 1 and 2 player co-op survival mode, and that's really the kind of the combat demo to show people what the game's like. But we're definitely in progress on PvP, team-based 2v2 PvP, guild system. You know, it's a big game, and it's getting bigger.
And it's getting even bigger now. We'll just take a quick look at Auroch in action and see what those giant blade, fist, gauntlet, extravaganza things he's got clamped on. But as we're seeing Auroch fight, anything else you guys want to mention about Chrono Blade here?
Yeah, so the gameplay that you're seeing here is obviously very sort of, beat 'em up arcade-style gameplay, but behind this is a pretty full-featured RPG as well. I mentioned the skill trees before. There's also a very fully featured inventory system where you can equip your character with different kinds of armor and weapons. And things like that. So it's a hybrid, as Jordan mentioned before, of those two genres that we think is pretty interesting and hasn't really been seen before.
And of course, underneath it all, that insatiable lust that most gamers have for loot.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We have that.
Loot.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was terrible. You were saying?
Yeah, so there's actually a ton of items in this game. I don't remember how many looks of armors there are. Maybe you remember?
Well, right now there's I think the number is 2,377 pieces of equipment that you can get, and that's just looks. It's not counting all the variations from stats.
That is not a small number.
And there's lots of different properties that go along with those different armors and weapons that you can find as well. So there's a lot to explore. There's a lot of loot, as you mentioned, to crave in this game, and really search and explore the game looking for.
So Chrono Blade coming to the Ouya, going to be free to play.
Yes, it is.
And also available on Facebook. What are you saying?
Yeah, we're in closed beta right now, but we'll be entering open beta here pretty quick.
And if anyone is curious about getting themselves into that open beta, what should they do?
ChronoBlade.com.
Chronoblade.com. All right, Jordan, Steve, thank you so much for coming by, showing off some Chrono Blade and Ouya demo here on our live show.
Thank you.
Much appreciated. All right, folks, that was your glimpse at the Ouya because, man, there's more than just two next-generation consoles. Didn't you know? Speaking of next generation, coming up next, we've got our demo for Destiny. We're going to be taking a look at Bungie's new awesomeness that we just saw gameplay for yesterday, and I'm going to try to keep it under control and not go total giddy fanboy all over it. But first, we're going to take a quick break. We'll see you back shortly.
Hey folks, Homer Barr back here in the West Hall, E3 2013. Rounding out the big three is the Microsoft booth. Right behind me, we got the giant, gargantuan green wall. But what lies behind that wall is what you're interested in. Let's go check it out. We're going to cruise around here. Stone's throw from the GameSpot stage, bringing you all the world-class gameplay demos and floor reports by moi. But that's besides the point. We are in the Microsoft booth, and we're just going to roll through. Let's see what's going on. We've got World of Tanks right here, the Xbox 360 edition. One of those titles that everybody's clamoring about. We got some World of Tanks. We got Rise, Son of Rome, playable on the show floor. That's a pretty cool sculpture they got in the back there. It's awesome. Look at this line. Look at this line. Look at these people waiting to get their hands on some Xbox One action. Let's get an idea of how long people have been waiting for. Hey man, how long have you been waiting for?
5 minutes.
5 minutes? That's not bad. Is it moving pretty quickly?
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, Rise. Check it out. It's playable. Right over here, we got some Dead Rising 3. Obviously, it's going to be at the Capcom booth. Oh, it's behind closed doors. So get a good look at the poster, because from this vantage point, that's all you're going to see. That's all you're going to see here at the booth. But hopefully, our homie John at the Capcom booth will hook us up. Let's go right into the mix here, because we got all sorts of... watch your step, dude. Watch your step. So we got Lightning Returns, Final Fantasy 13. We got Madden NFL 25. We've got Skylanders Swap Force. We got some NCAA Football 14. Go Bears. Band Fuse Rock Legends. Right there. Check that out. She's got the guitar. He's playing on the guitar right there. He's got a little Fender Strat. That's pretty sick. Telecaster. Stratocaster? Stratocaster. That's a Fender Strat. Castlevania 2, Lords of Shadow. Ninja Gaiden Z, for all you Canadian folks watching. We got Saints Row the 4th, Rayman, Fable Anniversary. Let's squeeze on through here. We got Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons. We got some Diablo Triple right there. Oh yeah. Check out that sick cutscene. Very slick. We got some Disney Infinity. Stepping down. Watch your step. Let's proceed. Xbox 360. We got Splinter Cell Blacklist. Look at this dude. Getting his creep on. Ooh, look out for the laser though. Oh. Yo, crash. Crash. Hey, it happens. It's all good. We don't blame you, man. We don't blame you. We got some more Blacklist right here. That has a tendency to happen, folks. Sorry. It's all good. That has a tendency. What's happening, man? How's the game, man?
Pretty good.
You like it?
Well, I worked on the game.
There you go. Give us the lowdown.
Give you the lowdown. So right now I'm on the man, that mic is close. I'm playing the Chem Lab Demo. So this is like midway through our game. This is definitely showcasing the stealth portion of the Splinter Cell history, right? Of course. So right now, basically, I took out a few dudes. I'm about to move to another floor here.
Snap some necks.
Well, you know what's funny is you can snap necks, or you could avoid snapping necks.
I don't know if I want to avoid that, though.
Oh, so you want me to go lethal?
Let's do it.
No, but the great thing about our game, just so you understand, though, it's also like when you go through a level and you're undetected, that we give you a higher score for that because it's more difficult, right? So I'll do something a bit in between here, right? I'm not gonna snap necks, but
come on, man, bring it EPMD style, man. Put him in a yoke and snap his neck. So let's just give people an overview of what they'll be able to play here on the show floor.
An overview on the play. Can you do me one favor?
Yeah.
Can you let me restart this?
Yeah, well, actually, you know what? Let's come back. I'll do a little more in depth. We're just doing a quick cruise by. We'll be back. What's your name?
Wiley.
Wiley. Homer. I'll be back. You restart that. The whole joint. All right, let's roll. We got Project Spark right here, though. Project Spark, they got a whole little area. People yelling at their connects, telling buildings and mountains to appear. That's pretty dope. I'm actually pretty impressed with that. That looks like a pretty innovative game. We got some Crimson Dragon right here. That dude's all up in the Borg. Look at that. That's very Borg-esque, if you ask me. Let's keep moving. We got Power Star Golf right here. Me being a big golf fan, can't wait for this title to come out. That looks hot. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, I'm getting the 30 seconds. Let's see what we can see in 30 seconds. All right. Sparks Project. We got some Xbox One right over here. I'm not too sure what they're showing, but that's probably a breakdown. That's probably a breakdown of the actual console. They got the straight mechanics going. It's pretty dope. Looks like some gyroscoping going on, but yeah, it's like a calamity of folks here wanting to play some wanting to play some Xbone and checking out the whole Microsoft booth. So I'll be back with the second portion of the booth tour, and yeah, let's throw it back to stage right now.
Folks, if you're a big Bungie fan like myself, then yesterday was a big day. At the Sony press conference, first gameplay on display for Destiny, Bungie's new project. And joining me on stage now is Joseph Staten, writer and design director on the game. Joseph, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Happy to be debuting gameplay of your game finally.
Absolutely. It's great to take the wrapper off and shove it out there to a couple million people. It's awesome.
I mean, you know,
it's not stressful.
Talking in vague design terms about the game is fascinating on many levels, but there's just something about putting the game out there for people to see, seeing it in action, getting to play it, and pretty great showing last night.
Yeah, thanks. It's awesome. I mean, it's a straight-up Bungie shooter. It's going to be a fun first-person shooter, but there are certain elements about it that are great to just explain in more detail and show people.
Indeed, and we're actually going to run that demo from last night,
awesome. Yeah.
Or more or less what that was like, this sort of same piece, and we'll just sort of talk through it and see, you know, talk about what we see. First off, it looks freaking gorgeous.
It's amazing. I mean, whatever, I shouldn't say it looks amazing. I sound like a jerk.
It's amazing, I know.
But, I mean, I'm not an artist,
I mean,
and it looks, I mean, we have incredible guys and gals that work there, and it just, I mean, it's amazing. This is all coming right out of our engine. All that stuff, if you ran out there, it's all playable terrain. I mean, it's just a really powerful new engine that we've got.
If you want to pick your way through the decayed freeway that's been sitting there for however many hundreds of years, and
exactly
run across some. Now these guys are the Fallen.
So these are the Fallen, one of the combatant races in the game, and this is actually from an early cinematic in the game. So this just helps set up the world. One of the first things you do in Destiny is, at least in the story campaign, is you go to Old Russia.
Old Russia, not so much thriving at this point, and also like, I guess, are these snows and dust, and like this is remnants of. What I really like about Destiny and the Earth area in Destiny is how it has all of this. You guys have like front-loaded it with all this history.
Absolutely.
It just begs you, like, what did this wall separate them from? What are these spaceships that you discover behind the wall? Like, what is the story behind all that situation?
Absolutely. I mean, we love world building. I think the best world building just asks questions. You know, puts questions in your mind. You know, why did they build this wall? What were they trying to keep out? What were they trying to keep in? You know, what were those old ships in the background? What were they for? I mean, all that stuff, this whole idea of an abandoned Earth and an abandoned human civilization isn't just on Earth, it's on all the planets of our solar system. So as you explore Mars and other places, you'll see similar themes.
You guys have, you know, the deal that this came out of, the publishing deal with Activision for 10 years, you know, that you guys have certainly laid a foundation, it seems, with your world building here that just gives you so much space and so much history to work with. And, you know, it must be kind of daunting to try to lay down something that you're like, this has got to be one of the most immensely fertile sci-fi worlds that has been created. Let's spring that out of our minds.
Well, now you're getting me stressed out. I want to go back to work and get some more stuff done.
No, man, this is E3. This is where we just talk about video games. So this is where a friend has jumped in.
Yes, exactly. So in this world, we're members of a fire team together. So we would have joined up prior to coming to the Old Russia. And we would have come together here in this private area.
Now, is a fire team a session-by-session thing, or is it like a clan that sort of persists across your gameplay sessions?
So a fire team is just a grouping of players that gets together to do a specific activity.
Okay.
So in this case, we're doing a story mission. But if we wanted to, we could take the exact same fire team into competitive multiplayer and other activities in the game, too.
And then, boom, your buddies come in. Now, this was a question. This is called Ghost?
The Ghost, yep.
Is it voiced by Peter Dinklage?
Why would you say it's voiced by Peter Dinklage? Does that sound like Peter Dinklage?
I mean, you can't hear it right now because I'm jibber jabbering.
I can neither confirm or deny that is Peter Dinklage.
All right, sounded like him to me, but
yeah. He's got a great voice, though, right?
He does.
Whoever that is.
He's got a real rich sense of humor, too.
Yep.
So a caustic wit.
Yep.
And so, you know, the Ghost is certainly clearly an environmental aid here. Does that factor into combat as well?
Well, so right now what we're just showing is his helpful companion, help you get through the world mode. But the Ghost is actually an important story character in the game as well. So he's not just in the sandbox.
Does everybody get a Ghost that just trickles down out of the Traveler globe and accompanies them since infancy throughout the whole world?
Well, the Ghost is one of those things that, since you asked, actually gets issued to every Guardian of the City. So if you're a Guardian of the City, you get your own Ghost, and like a lot of things in Destiny, there may be the ability to customize them later on.
Maybe,
but yes, he's
perhaps.
your little buddy. Your really loyal, helpful companion. You would not be able to get through the world of Destiny, the Wild Frontier, without your ghost helping you every once in a while.
Yeah, you need a little help, not just, certainly from friends who can wield guns, but also apparently from sophisticated AI floating friends, or if it is even AI. Well, in the game design sense it is, but what is it within the world?
Little helpful friend, your companion.
Your little friend. All right, so this we got a glimpse a little bit later on about loot and sort of gun lust that you guys are sort of sparking a little bit with it. Talk about the guns we've got now. This one sort of seems like an SMG.
Yeah, so I think
had
this
a pistol out a second ago.
Yeah, so I think this weapon I've got here is a pulse rifle, which means it fires 3-shot bursts. And my buddy over there's got looks like he's got an energy rifle. And yes, I have a hand cannon, a revolver.
Not literally the thing you just shot from your hand that looks cannon-like.
Yes, space magic. Yeah, it's space magic. I mean, it's awesome. I mean, all the magic in this game feels really kinetic and visceral, and it's like flinging a piece of the sun out of your fist. I mean, it's a really satisfying combat magic. It's great.
Now, the player character here, there are 3 playable human classes, correct?
Yep.
That's the... Why don't you just say them?
So actually, you can choose to be a human or 2 of the other races, Exo or Awoken. The classes, there are 3.
Are separate from the race.
Separate from race. So race is a purely emotional, cosmetic choice. Has no impact on gameplay, but your class does in small ways. So you can be a hunter or a titan or a warlock. Now, all those classes have access to the abilities, your space magic, and the tweaking and tuning you're doing between the classes is just really making the playstyle unique to you.
Is it certain special, like does more damage with pistols, or can wield certain weapons better, or is it does certain branches of space magic, different abilities?
You can see right here on this inventory screen. Actually, we didn't highlight it, but every class has certain abilities, but there's a lot of overlap. I mean, the big thing for us is we don't want anybody to regret their class choice. A couple hours in or a couple missions in, we don't want you to think, oh man, I should have become a hunter. The classes are similar in a lot of ways. It's really just about tweaking and tuning to make it feel good for you.
Will you be able to have multiple characters?
They definitely have specialties, yeah.
Will you personally be able to have multiple characters within the world of Destiny?
Absolutely. And these characters will grow over time, and hopefully some of the characters you'll stick with for years, even. Yeah.
Well, with the sweet monocular visualization thing like that character
I love that. Yeah, the hunter is actually my favorite class. I wasn't playing it in this demo, but the cape looks awesome, the monocle looks cool, and both of those things are choices that player made out in the world. They found that gear somewhere and have decided to wear it. It's just not cosmetic. It actually has some gameplay properties as well.
Question coming in from the Twitch chat, DMills819, wondering, is this, an MMO or what? To what? Because this is certainly a multiplayer game. But to what extent does that multiplayer scope? I mean, this encounter we're going to see it scale up in terms of the amount of human players that are involved. But what's sort of the upper limit on how many people can be involved in one conflict in one place?
So first thing to know is this is a Bungie shooter. I mean, you could tell just by looking at the screen. It's guys with great guns, great sandbox action. If you love playing the games we've made in the past, our shooters, you're gonna love this game. This public space, we're still playing with numbers to see what a pleasing, upper limit of characters is.
Okay.
But right now, what we demoed, we have 7 people in there. 3 different fire teams. So we've got this fire team, the primary 3. And in the public event, you're joined by a couple guys coming on a different fire team on Sparrows, and then a 3rd fire team that comes in later in the fight.
And the public event, you're just putting the emphasis on event here as this ship comes in from Slipspace or wherever and, brings with it its little cadre. Like, that's not even the ship you end up fighting against. It's one of these smaller ships that drops a mini boss.
Wouldn't that be awesome if you could fight on that ship someday, though? That'd be amazing.
And then these dudes roll in and just make you instantly jealous because they're on friggin' land speeders, hover bike thingies. So
don't feel too jealous. I mean, you have your own as well. If I wanted to, I could be driving around on my own little vehicle here. Every Guardian has one. So it's a really quick and easy way to get around the world.
Sure. Yeah. And that is just something you can conjure out of the ether.
Exactly. Yep. You've got your personal ship. You saw people flying over in personal ships. The personal ships sort of, at least in some way, act as your storage in the game. So that's where you store your vehicle and all kinds of stuff.
Half Demon in the Twitch chat, curious about the feel of the game, like compared to, let's say, the last Bungie Halo game was Reach.
Yep.
And so compared to sort of the feel, like what did you guys, when you undertook Destiny, what kind of feel did you want from the shooter? Did you think we need to make this feel different than Halo, or did you just think, what was your goal in terms of that?
Our goal is to make sure that anybody who can pick up a controller can have fun. So if you can pick up a controller and have baseline skill, you can be combat effective, you can come in here, you can light it up. If you're one of those level 20s and has great twitch and is a really good shooter, there's a lot of headroom for showing your skill. And you can see here people are popping off crazy space magic and doing crazy moves. I mean, really, we want it to be accessible, but we want it to feel great. I mean, if you can put your hands on the controller and you played Bungie games, it would feel instantly familiar and fun. That's the goal.
It's an interesting mention that to talk about that accessibility, that skill range, and how you guys, because I think the conception within the shooter genre is that people have a certain amount of proficiency with dual aiming and competitive multiplayer, etc. But you got to always keep in mind that bottom. That entry point, that this is my first shooter, or this looks interesting, I might actually try a shooter.
Yeah, and also it's just making sure when you come into the world of Destiny, because it's a world, it's a big living world, that you can choose what you want to do. Do you want to be super competitive with other players? Do you want to be more cooperative? Do you want to play by yourself? Do you want to play with your friends? We offer a huge amount of choice, and the cool thing is it all is in this context of the same world. And you can run into players doing their own thing, and it's really fun. You definitely have an activity for any mood that you're in, which is really nice.
If you fail,
especially as you get older, like me, you just want to sometimes relax and shoot aliens in the face, and that's relaxing. And so we're really making sure that there's that for you.
Yeah, where your time for gameplay, you're in a certain mood, you want to play a certain game, but it's nice to encompass a wide range of moods in your game. To be
absolutely.
Like, hey, you just want to go exploring? Maybe shoot up some Fallen? Cool.
Yeah.
You want to tear it up in competitive multiplayer? We got that too.
Absolutely.
Very exciting. The questions are rolling in. Of course, people very curious about the multiplayer scope and sort of the ways it manifests. That was a public event we saw, and another player squad came along. But is there, if I'm out just roaming by myself, will I see up here coming over the ridge is gamertag dude, and can I voice chat with them or ping them with a hey, do you want to team up kind of thing?
Sure. So out in the world, there are two kinds of spaces that you can run through. You can run through a private space that's just you and people in your fire team, and then you'll hit these public spaces where you can run into anybody, other fire teams, guys that are doing story activities, guys that are doing more sort of our high-frequency cooperative stuff, like this public event, for example. So in the world, you're definitely notified about where you might run into people and where you're not. And you can really make choices depending on the kind of experience that you want to have.
Depending on where you want to go at that point in time.
Yeah, absolutely. And we know that some people just don't want to spend time with strangers. I mean, sometimes that's just weird or you don't want to do it. And you can avoid those situations if you want to. But we want to tempt you with awesome opportunities like big giant spaceships and spider tanks and the loot that's going to pop out of them. I mean, if that's what you want, those things are going to, like flies to meat, they're going to draw the players in. It's going to be delicious. But
the nefarious power of loot.
Yes.
We were just talking about that in our previous demo, and it is one thing that certainly holds true. I'm going to check over here on Twitter for a question. Player curious about different vehicles. I mean, we saw, certainly you were talking about, you have your private vehicle you can just pop out to help traverse the world. Then there was a private spaceship, which presumably that's, go from the hub to whatever area you're trying to get to. That's more of a transit type thing?
Yeah, the spaceship is primarily to get you from the city where the Guardians live out into the wild, into the frontier, take you to Mars and Venus. I mean, we're a Bungie game. We love vehicles. We love great physics simulation. We're not talking about all the vehicles right now, except for the little sparrow, we call it, that you fly out in the world.
The Sparrow?
The Sparrow. Well, I don't know if that name's going to stick, so don't quote me on it.
Okay, all right. I was curious if you're going with an animal theme again, Warthog, Ghost, because Ghost is an animal.
Yeah, that's right, kind of. But, yeah, I mean, this is a great Bungie sandbox game, so stay tuned.
And this game, yesterday was a lot of talk about new consoles, about PlayStation 4, about Xbox One, but a lot of folks out there are saying, well, what about my PC? I mean, my PC still can play games that look super awesome right now. Destiny on PC?
Well, I can't talk about it. I mean, obviously, we'd love to be on as many platforms as possible. I mean, we want to get the game into as many hands as we can, but we're not talking about PC right now. I know it's painful every time someone asks me that question. I see it in their eyes.
You just got to keep telling them. But is that a cool sensation? That motivation of, in this phase of Bungie's, for a decade of Bungie's existence, you know what platform that game's going to end up on. That's a Microsoft game. But now this whole get it out on every platform, is that invigorating to you?
I don't know if invigorating. No, it's
terrifying.
I mean, it is kind of. I mean, this is a really, as you know, a tricky year. It's a console transition. We got a ton of people with 360s and PlayStation 3s. I mean, we're excited about, getting it to everybody. It's tough. I mean, we used to make it for one thing, and now we're stepping up.
And now
we got a big, talented team and
a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah, no, that part of it is going great.
And you guys are also straddling generations. It's coming out for the Xbox 360, the PlayStation 3, and then Xbox One and PlayStation 4.
Exactly. Yeah.
Excellent. Just a few more questions here before we wrap up. Actually, you're a writer on the game. Let's talk a little bit about the story.
Yep.
It seems in Destiny this is not a monolithic campaign with a discrete beginning and end in the way that, say, a Halo game in the past had been.
Mm-hmm.
So what, in terms of tracking a story, is that more about just building your story within the world by taking scattered missions across the solar system, or is it about investigating some greater galactic truth, history, fighting the enemies, etc., etc.?
I don't know. Which one would you like? How about a little of both? I mean, it is a little bit of both. We love cinematic storytelling at Bungie. We've done it for years, and we love, great narrative, great linear story. But that's going to drive a certain part of Destiny. But there's a whole bunch of Destiny that's a story is told different ways, in little smaller bite-sized chunks. So honestly, there's a little bit of everything. But if you love a great cinematic story, Destiny has that for you. Absolutely.
Destiny's going to give it to you.
Yep.
Joseph, I feel confident that I could literally keep you here for hours and continue to talk with you about Destiny.
Let's hang out. Where you got to go?
I've made some appointments with other people to have them show off their games here on stage. So we got to wrap it up here. We said what platforms it's on, and you guys are targeting 2014 for the release.
2014. It's coming soon.
Can't come soon enough.
Yeah,
Joseph, thank you so much.
Absolutely, thank you.
Congratulations on the gameplay reveal.
Yep.
Look forward to seeing more of Destiny in the coming months, and really, hopefully, very soon. All right, folks, we're heading over to the Microsoft booth with Homer Robara, and we'll be back just in a few minutes.
All right, so we found some free space here at the Microsoft booth. As you can see behind me, they got the whole living room set up, and they got a couple Xbox Ones, the new Kinect, and I guess they're showing off like the whole feature system with how well the Kinect can detect people. And it looks like they have like a whole demo going on, little show how it integrates into your entertainment system and all that jazz. Right behind Sully, if he takes a quick turnaround into some cameras, they got the whole Xbox Smart Glass feature going on. So they got a tablet set up, and they're showing how that interfaces with the new Xbox One and how that whole thing is. So maybe we'll get a little more in depth with that later. But let's proceed to one of my more favorite titles, which is Forza Motorsport 5. Not for the obvious reason, because Brian Eckberg works for Turn 10, but because it's an awesome racing game. Let's take a look. They got the whole setup there with the chair, the paddle shifting wheel. That's a demo hardware, it looks like. Thrustmaster, it looks like. And he's got the whole pedal set up. 5.1. Oh, it looks like 7.1 digital surround sound. That's pretty sick, dude. I'm feeling that. Let's see if we can get through here to actually take a peek at the ride that they got. Sully, you're going to hate me. I'm going to make you go through this, dude. I'm going to make you walk through this. So we're trudging through the mix of peoples trying to check out some Forza. I'm going to make it. Ooh, free space. Boom. Look at this thing. Oh. That's sexy. I don't even know what kind of car that is, but it's pretty damn sexy. Yep. Forza Motorsport 5. Let's see if we can get an Eckberg. Is there an Eckberg in the house? I want to see if there's an Eckberg. Nope, I don't see him. I don't see the bright orange auburn hat that he would usually be wearing, but you know, can't ask for too much these days. Anyways, we got more Xbox One hardware over here. Let's get a little up close and personal with it. Let's take a look. Let's take a nice gander at it. Look at that thing. It's pretty big, dude, not gonna lie. That thing's like a little tiny spaceship. There's the Kinect. Looks like it's got a pretty sick, some sick glass on that lens there. There's the new controller. Looking pretty boss. Nice. Now if we turn our way this way, we've got Halo Spartan Assault, which is the top-down shooter on the Windows platform tablet. Looks like they're running them all as you would assume on Windows tablets, so that's pretty cool. Looks like there's a big old line. Yeah, get up in that mix, Sully. Go check that out. Different perspective on Halo. Literally, different perspective. Nice. All right. So one last thing we want to check out. Obviously, we want to give a shout out to the partnerships that Microsoft is getting involved in. And right over here, in the fall with the launch of Xbox One, they're going to be doing some deals with the NFL. America's new pastime sport, I would say, football. It's a pretty big deal out here in America, land of America. Look at that. Look at that. Let's check it out. NFL social feed. Ooh, you got the... Oh, oops. No shooting. No shooting. All right, no, it's okay.
No close video, but if you want to take a video of my friend here giving you the demo,
we'll come back. We'll come back for more in depth. But we got Battlefield 4 behind closed doors. Look at, check out their feet. Those dudes are excited. See the excitement in their feet right there? Oh my gosh, they're immersed. They are immersed, I'm telling you. And I think that about does it. Oh, nope. Loco Cycle. They got some Loco Cycle right here. Look at this guy, he's got a cape. AMD cape. I want one. In fact, I want to go get one today. That dude is getting dragged by his motorcycle. Oh, wait, all right, okay. Mech motorcycle racing. That motorcycle was just doing kung fu on people. How does that work? All right. That's like a shout out to old Robotech, like second generation Robotech right there. All right, that's it. They're giving me the cut. Giving me the old cut sign. Let's go back to the stage.
And from future Activision shooter franchise to reigning champ Activision shooter franchise, I'm Chris Waters here with Call of Duty Ghosts and executive producer Mark Rubin. Mark, welcome to the stage.
Hey, thank you very much.
We are super glad to have you here, even though you didn't bring a dog with you. But we are going to talk about some Call of Duty Ghosts single player. Let's get this out of the way right away.
Yeah,
you guys know how PR campaigns work? Not talking about multiplayer yet.
I know, it's sad.
Okay. Hey, you know, that's the way it is. That's the way it is. People love multiplayer, they want to talk about it, but single player today, we got some levels to show off, including aforementioned dog level, and some under the sea action.
The sea action, yes.
But you know, you guys have you've announced Ghosts, you've shown it off a little bit. Now E3's in full swing. How's it going for the Ghosts?
So far, so good. You know, E3 is chaos in a big box.
Yes, it is.
But it's a lot of fun. You know, and I've worked it now enough times where it's like you come to E3 and you're like, oh, it's so hard. There's so much work. And
my goodness. Yeah.
And then actually a few years ago, I kind of realized I didn't used to even be able to come to these events.
Yep.
So now I'm here and I get to be here and be a part of it. And I realize this is awesome.
It's pretty freaking awesome.
Yeah. So, yeah.
All right. Well, Call of Duty Ghosts. We're talking single player campaign, which has to start with the question: how did America get so messed up?
We've only kind of teased some details there, and basically what we've done is we've crafted this idea that there's a mass event, and that mass event, although maybe not specifically important how, but what happens obviously is the big deal. So we've got this idea of a devastated U.S., a devastated America, and we're not the superpower anymore. So there's this sort of underdog struggle that we've not seen. You know, normally Modern Warfare, you're the big army, you got all the toys, all the resources,
you can come in and do whatever you want in a sense. But in this particular game, we're taking definitely sort of a turning on its head. And the big part of it too, actually, is, and you'll see on the next level we show, you as a player and the main person you're with, which is your brother. You grew up during that event. So, and during the after that event. So, in the beginning of the game, you're going to experience this mass event as sort of kids or as younger adults, and then we've kind of jumped forward 10 years
to when you guys are scuba diving and infiltrating behind enemy lines.
Exactly.
Trying to take someone out and avoid angelfish, which are
very smart angelfish.
Using their fish AI to dodge out of your way.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. So you gotta love the internet.
There they go, all the fish and their AI.
When we were doing that video, that BTS video where that comes from, basically the producer of the video had seen a bunch of stuff in the game because we took him around the studio and we took him to a bunch of the different desk sides and stuff.
Sure.
And one of the ones he saw was there was a guy working on some fish stuff, and it was more actually he was working at the time. He was working on the flocking ability of it.
It was actually just his screensaver.
It was a screensaver. So he, during the cut, he was like, "You got to talk about the AI fish," and I'm like, "What are you talking about?" It's because I saw the thing with the AI fish, and he goes, "Well, okay, but it's not really a big deal. It's not like new or anything."
Yeah.
And he's like, "No, talk about it. It was amazing to see," and he's all excited about it. I'm like, "All right." So I did a take with it, and then when we saw the take afterwards, it was so funny that I was like, "You have to put that in."
We're going with fish AI.
We're going with fish AI, and thank you, internet, for being for who you are, for being successful and picking that up and making awesome videos about it. That was so awesome. I was so happy with that. So my favorite, of course, being the Nintendo 64 reference for Mario, because they had that back in Nintendo 64 time where you could avoid the fish would avoid you.
Yep.
That's exactly what I wanted out of it. So well done.
Mission accomplished.
Well done, internet. Thank you.
Excellent. So now we've just sort of seen like some, basically like glamour shots of under the sea, and then a little bit of combat. But now things are getting a little dicier.
Well, actually, no, it looks like we've switched to the other level.
Oh, okay.
So yes,
I thought you had planned some stunt with that whole static thing. That was cool.
No, that wasn't me.
No,
wasn't me.
That was nicely planned, though.
Yeah.
All right, so we're in the other level, and this is a level where you are spying on some dudes in funny suits.
Funny suits are always a sign of pure evil.
Yeah, and also, well, in this case, these dudes
like clowns.
I mean, they look like they're the Ghostbusters, only less fun. Oh god, this is dog mode.
This is dog mode.
Oh no! Took him down.
That dog is amazing, by the way.
That
we brought him by the
cool.
studio.
Yeah?
And absolutely.
Well, you guys did a whole motion capture session with the dog, yeah?
Yeah. So we did a whole bunch of motion capture. We actually used several dogs for that. In the original, when we kind of really started this thing, we had this idea during the brainstorming sessions of like, okay, what we do is we put cards up on a wall, and we just literally have corkboards all over the studio, and everybody in the studio can grab a card and put an idea up. Doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter what it is. It can be any crazy idea you want, and we'll put it up on the wall. So one of the ones that stuck early was, okay, let's get a dog in the squad. That'd be really cool. How would it work?
Yeah.
And so, like, what we usually do is we end up going to the guys who do this for real and asking them, hey, how does this work? What happens here? How does a dog, work in a squad? Is he just out sniffing for bombs? And that's kind of what we assumed, is they'd be out there sniffing for IEDs or something. And he was like, he explained how the dog is used, and it's
pretty fascinating, right?
It's amazingly fascinating.
Yeah.
And to a level that on two levels that I was just absolutely floored with. One being the emotional level, and one being the tech level. So from an emotional level, the dog's with the squad all the time. He's in the barracks, stays there with them. He goes with them wherever they go. I mean, literally, he was showing us pictures of them halo jumping out of a plane. The dog's strapped to the guy's chest.
Oh, wow.
And he's got an air mask on his face so he can breathe at whatever altitude. Yeah.
No dog was ever meant to survive at this altitude.
It's amazing. We were floored by it. And one of the things the guy said once was, there's a lot of guys in the squad who really love this dog. He's sort of that emotional inspiration for someone. When things are out kind of rough, the dog's kind of emotionally stable for you. And so one guy mentioned, he said something like, "I would take a bullet for this dog." Wow. That's an amazing emotional experience for one of your squad members.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, and to have them so integrally, part of that squad. They're also, like, I think the range of commands that a dog can take in terms of, like, patrolling and alert and, reconnaissance is just...
Well, what we're going to see here is you just saw it flip up.
Yeah.
So that the dog's wearing this
dog cam.
Yeah, it's a camera on a periscope, and it flips up. And now the seal's got the screen that he can use to watch it. The dog's also wearing an earpiece.
Yep.
So the seal handler can actually talk to the dog and tell him what to do.
And the dog, so, it's the player is controlling at this point,
At this
presumably.
point, the player's controlling it. So another part of it, actually, too, is if they want to be really stealthy, there's a vibrating devices on either side of his neck, the dog's neck.
Yeah.
And so he can actually push a button, like a joystick controller, and tell the dog to go left, right, left, tack, whatever.
So it's, this isn't just Call of Duty, you play as a dog because dogs are cool. It's because this is real tactical soldier stuff that they do.
We didn't have this in there originally, this idea.
Yeah.
This came from the tech that we saw.
So this is the dog is being pretty silent at this point, doing some obviously
to the
recon.
dog, it's a game, but his game right now, the thing that he's thinking, the dog's thinking is, okay, I have to do that thing that they taught me, and then I have to go chew someone's neck out.
Yeah, this guy does not want to tangle with the dog. He was not prepared for a dog.
When we were mocapping this, we had the main guy who was getting bit all the time. The guy who basically mocaps all these attacks.
All those dudes getting mauled?
All the dudes that get mauled. He's been doing it for like 19 years. And the guy, because we were mocapping it, because we needed to mocap him as well, we actually had him in what's called a light fight composition suit.
Okay.
So it's a very lightweight suit.
Whoa, that dog broke the door down.
He's kind of beast.
And brought the whole enemy squad with him. Yowza.
But so he basically is wearing this really lightweight suit, and he's getting chomped on. And afterwards, like at the end of the day, we're looking at his arms, and they're just covered in bruises.
Yeah, like so the suit prevents puncturing the skin, but not
the
that
pressure.
bite pressure, which is pretty formidable.
But so the dog was having a blast. And afterwards, they're like all petty and loving each other.
Really, it's not it's not like there is no petting the dog.
No.
There's pet time, and there's small time. A clear delineation between the two is only sensible.
Yeah. So, I think the dog, obviously adds a really cool new game mechanic. It adds also a cool story mechanic. It adds that sort of emotional part of it, and that sort of tying you into something real, too. Because remember, what we saw actually on that level is you and your brother and your dog are in your neighborhood, in your old neighborhood that it's been destroyed by this mass event. And so you see your old house in that video.
Man, Mark, talking about emotional connection to the dog, talking about a dude taking a bullet for the dog.
Emotional connection to your fish.
Are you guys gonna kill this dog? Come on!
I am not spoiling that for you.
Of course you're not spoiling it.
Not spoiling that.
Oh man, I would go to the Twitch chat for questions, but it's pretty much 80% dog pictures at this point in time. Not even the multiplayer stuff. They got the
The dog was awesome. Actually, there were I do have to say there were multiple dogs. We had multiple dogs. So the one
multiple
you see,
dogs for the capture session or multiple dogs in the game?
No, for the capture session.
Okay,
that helped out.
Okay,
so giving props to those guys.
So when the credits roll and you see Sparky, Rover, Tex,
it was actually I think Turbo, Ruger, Rico.
Nice. Turbo, Ruger, and Rico.
Yeah.
First person to lock down that gamer tag wins. All right. Well, that's Call of Duty Ghosts. You're showing off the single player here, and we talked about the underdog setting, and we talked about how clearly you still have some kind of tactical strength. Clearly, you're able to deploy to some degree. You're able to assess threats to some degree. But this is this a game about? This isn't a game about reclaiming military superiority. Is it about reclaiming security, or beating back an encroaching foe, or what's the goal?
It's a little. We actually shift mid-story. So you start off in that sort of resistance feel. You're sort of fighting back against someone in your turf. And then the story moves forward, and we're sort of we get to a point where we're actually taking it to the enemy. But
removing that threat, hopefully,
or
minimizing, capping, yeah.
Maybe just revenge. Eat at their nice restaurants. They've got all the cool stuff now. They've got all the cool toys. So no, you know, I can't spoil too much, obviously.
I appreciate that, Mark. Thank you. That's considerate.
But yeah, you do move forward, and the key thing on the resources isn't that you don't have anything; it's that what you have is limited, and what you have is finite. You don't just have that big, unlimited resources that you expect from previous Call of Duty.
Speaking of finite, our time here with Call of Duty Ghosts is coming to an end now. So let's get the rundown. Platforms, release date.
Right now, we're only have announced current gen and PC as being 11/5.
Okay.
November 5th.
And so current gen, Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, Wii U. Is it on there, or is that in the next gen bin?
Probably in the next gen bin, but we're not actually talking about Wii U yet.
Okie doke.
Because we want to keep it mysterious.
You mysterious dudes.
It's PR, guys. That's
all right, so that release is?
That's November 5th.
Yep.
And then next gen release will be when next gen consoles come
Next gen announcements to come. Oh, so you guys are targeting launch day for next gen consoles.
Yes.
Excellent. Yeah. And any news on when these rabid internet denizens can get more on multiplayer?
Yeah, multiplayer. We should be talking a lot about multiplayer, solely focused on multiplayer, in the next maybe 2 months, month and a half.
Great.
So sometime this summer.
Mark, thank you so much. Call of Duty Ghosts.
Thank you.
Have a good show.
Thanks.
Next up, it's Mario Kart 8 with Homer Ibarra.
Hey folks, Homer Ibarra back here at the Nintendo booth. GameSpot's coverage of E3 2013 continues. Last but not least, we got Mario Kart 8, David Young.
We've saved the best for last today. Mario Kart 8 is coming out in 2014. It is going to be an incredible game. You know, the big thing about it is you have this anti-gravity. So sometimes you'll be racing right up walls or tracks that might be completely inverted. So awesome, awesome gameplay.
Cool. So let's take a look. We got some split screen head-to-head battle here. Looks like we got somebody on the gamepad and then someone using the Mario Kart wheel. So let's talk about the anti-gravity. Look, like the hovercraft, man. What is that all about?
So when you go into anti-gravity mode, your wheels turn sideways, and they kind of become sort of a mechanism to keep you on the track even when you're upside down or going sideways. So when you see that area where the wheels have flattened out, you know you're in an anti-gravity area.
Cool, and I saw that when people jumped off of a ramp or something, like a hang glider comes out too, right?
Yeah, so we brought the hang glider and the underwater areas from Mario Kart 7. Yeah. So you're going to experience that. You're going to have motorbikes, you're going to have you're going to have karts, you're going to have customization. You can have all kinds of different control methods. So with a gamepad, you can control it using the motion control. So you can twist the gamepad like a steering wheel or traditional buttons. It features up to 4-player multiplayer local or 12-player online play.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
12-player multiplayer.
It's going to be serious kart action come next year.
That's awesome. So looks like the dude is playing it on. Oh, well. It looks like the demo's over. But talk about what's going to be on display on the gamepad as he plays.
Well, on the gamepad, you can either have a horn button that you can use to tap on it, and you can kind of scare people out of your way, which can be used, strategically. Or you can see the whole track, and you see where you are on the track. You also, on the side of the screen, it shows you where your position is in relation to the other racers. So what we've done is taken a lot of the stuff that was originally on the TV screen, brought it down on the gamepad, and really cleaned up the main screen, made it look nice and pretty, and then all the detail is in your hand.
Cool. Any new weapons, new levels we can anticipate?
We haven't talked a lot about new weapons and stuff yet, but there'll be more to discuss. But tracks, we've got all new tracks, but we're also bringing tracks back from earlier games as well. So we're going to have a great selection of tracks for people to race on.
Cool. More information to come between now and 2014, I assume.
You know it. I mean, everybody loves Mario Kart, so we'll be talking a lot about it in the coming months.
Awesome. David, thank you for your time, man. Enjoy the rest of your show.
Yeah, you too. And, well, we're just getting started, right? Yeah. We got more to go. So have a great show.
Cool. Thanks, David. You too. E3 2013 coverage continues.
Thanks, Homer. folks. Chris Waters here into our 5th hour of live stage show coverage here on day 1 at E3 2013. Folks, it is time for one of the most somber-toned games of E3 2013. Twisted Pixel, well known for making emotionally impactful, heavy, dark tone games such as Miss Explosion Man, and Comic Jumper. It's Loco Cycle, and joining me on stage is Jay Stickwish, Marketing Director for Twisted Pixel. Welcome, Jay.
Hey, how you doing? Yes, we are showing off Tom Clancy's Loco Cycle today.
Oh, yeah.
Very excited to have him tied to this project.
Yeah, in a world where no information is secret.
Exactly.
And America is on its knees. One man is dragged all the time by his ankle behind a crazy AI motorcycle.
Do we have that recorded? Because I want to put that in the next trailer.
That is a great pitch. That was gold.
That's perfect.
All right. I just said a weird thing, but the premise of Loco Cycle, for lack of a better word, is a little loco. Tell the folks what they have in store before we jump into gameplay right now.
All right, so what you're going to see is Iris, the motorcycle that you play as in this game. She is a sentient piece of military hardware that was struck by lightning, and it goes a little crazy like the movie Short Circuit. So she decides she doesn't want to be that military tech anymore. She wants to get out on the open road, but in order to do that, she needs her trusty mechanic Pablo with her, who she takes literally in tow against his wishes. So he's kind of like the unwilling hero in this, and yeah, the two of them have kind of like this awesome little adventure buddy comedy going on.
Yeah, because Pablo, I mean, as you'll see, folks, he's not super psyched about his situation, and you wouldn't be either if you were getting dragged behind a sentient piece of military hardware. But the game is, plays out, the cycle is, you're basically racing across country, or you're escaping, and folks are trying to nab you, and you are blasting them.
Exactly, yeah. She's leaving her military base in South America, and she's heading to a motorcycle rally in Indiana, and she's going cross country with Pablo, and luckily he's got the strongest pair of pants on in the world, and so hopefully he's okay on this adventure.
Because otherwise, folks, you will see the chafing. The horrible, horrible chafing. We've got an Xbox One debug kit back there to set up, because you guys are an Xbox One launch title.
We are excited to announce that here at E3. First time launch title for Twisted Pixel, so you're going to see Loco running at a beautiful 1080p, 60 frames per second, and looking gorgeous, we hope. People are digging it too.
Delightful. We'll have that for you in any second now, folks, but because it's a little... I can understand if it's a little tough for folks to visualize, man being dragged behind a motorcycle, etc., etc. But you guys have done a variety of games, notably some excellent platformers. What spurred the change of genre to this kind of action racing kind of game?
We've never really done anything like that, and given our past games, you can see we've done a lot of different styles of gameplay, and we've never done anything this action-oriented, and decided, this is a good time. We've got the time to work on something really cool. We've got a launch title. Let's really blow it out and do something fun with it. So this game is it's literally nonstop action from the word go, and it's a little bit of a departure for us. It's totally new. We're keeping the humor and the fun quality of the gameplay in there, but also just mixing it up with tons of action, and at 200 miles an hour. So.
200 miles an hour, and looks like we're booting up here, so you're going to get to see this beast in action. A little bit of a history line for Loco Cycle. You guys debuted last year at E3.
Yeah, in a minute here, you're going to see the true awesome graphic quality of our presence on Xbox One.
You might want to be sitting down. Come on. Show me the dude.
There it is.
Oh, Loco Cycle. So intense. The speed. The action.
You are correct, Pablo.
Obviously, one thing that has not changed about this is the Twisted Pixel sense of humor. And there you see, for real, Pablo being dragged behind, was it Iris?
Iris, correct.
The sentient motorcycle, and Iris is not just I can go fast and I can shoot guns. She's like melee combat.
Yeah, she's fluent in tons and tons of unarmed combat, and that shows throughout this game. And you'll actually be seeing some upgrades that we've put in place for her during your gameplay. The better you do in the performance within within the level, you can actually upgrade Iris at the end of each level.
Okay.
For better hardware, better weapons, some upgrades on Pablo and stuff like that as well.
Upgrades on Pablo, right? So you folks saw him. I was not exaggerating. He is being dragged behind the motorcycle. But at one point, you sort of did see him get someone in a headlock or something. Like he doesn't want to die.
Right.
So he like eventually will combine with you to do some of the foe thwarting as well.
Yes, exactly. I mean, he's there to watch out for his own skin too. So, and if Iris breaks down, he's got to be there to fix her, or else badness ensues.
So does he do repairs on the fly? And what is that super strong bond that he is? Like, how does he just not shake that pair of pants?
Yeah, she just has a really strong grip on him, and those pants are just Duralast. They're hanging in there for
thank
forever.
goodness.
Seriously,
that is why mechanics wear tough pants, because at any point a motorcycle might run away with them attached to it. I mean, that's just, they teach you that in mechanics school, obviously.
Exactly. It's rule 1.
All right, so with it, the kind of action-heavy game that Loco Cycle is going to be, are these pretty short levels in terms of short bursts of action? Then you beat a boss, you accomplish your goal. Like, talk to me about how a gameplay session might play out.
So the levels are actually pretty good in length. The demo that we're showing at this E3 is just about 10 minutes long. And the way the levels are broken down, they're actually broken into a couple different acts within each level, because it stops to tell you what your performance was on that section and where you're graded. And then at the end of the level, they take all of your grades, average it out, and that's what you're going to get to be able to upgrade Iris at the end.
Okay, and so that talk about sort of giving you your grade, how well you do. There's sort of a competitive element.
Yes.
Talking online leaderboards, that kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely. And we want to we want to encourage people to do a better job throughout the level, so they can keep upgrading her and seeing the new technology that she can be equipped with. So yeah, just a lot of crazy, exciting action adventure fighting motorcycle action. Like, how
you just read
what else
that,
could you want?
You just read that off the marketing material,
didn't you? I totally did.
All right. Well, is there? I mean, this is sort of a default question in some ways, but is there any like side-by-side racing with you against another human player? Any kind of competition along those lines?
Actually, we're just sticking to the single-player function with this game. We kicked around the idea of multiplayer, but we really wanted to focus on the single-player action and just put as much into this as we possibly could and exciting for the game player.
Yeah, and of course that signature twisted pixel humor suffusing throughout the game. I mean, what you could really hear during that trailer is there's like banter back and forth between these two people. How does that voice acting session go where you're like, all right, you are the super smart, dangerous motorcycle lady, and you're just a dude getting dragged along for the ride. Go.
Actually, it worked out really, really well. As most people know, Lisa Foyles is the voice of Iris, and she just nailed that perfect monotone pitch that we wanted for Iris, and she was awesome to work with. And then we were actually able to get Freddy Rodriguez.
No kidding.
Yeah, from
Cool.
6 Feet Under Fame and stuff like that.
Yeah.
He came on as the voice of Pablo and was just amazing. For some reason, he speaks phenomenal Spanish, and
it was just what reason could there possibly be?
It was just amazing. It was just amazing.
So does Pablo speak Spanish the whole time, or does he just use it for certain oaths and curses and rants?
No, he does not speak a lick of English. It's Spanish the whole way through, and unfortunately, Iris's translator was fried in the lightning bolt, so all she thinks he's talking about is how beautiful it is outside and how much fun he's having, and meanwhile he's just streaming for his life.
Nice. I can imagine you guys have a little bit of fun with that.
Yeah, it was a good time.
All right, so Loco Cycle, you're this sort of almost like an arcade experience, right? You're racing, you're shooting it up, and during one of the gameplay demos or during the trailer, you saw sort of a combo meter popping up on screen. Is that, and that's, is there going to be, and like we were talking about before, you sort of strive to do better and better and upgrade and stuff like that. So you're really just trying to fuel that sort of competitive edge with folks.
Yeah, it's really, that's the driver to do better within each level and best yourself the next time around. To again the upgrade features and stuff like that, and the internal competitiveness. And I actually remember at the studio, I was playing through one of the demos and I got like a 92 hit combo. I went to the test pit. I'm like, yeah, dudes, I got a 92.
Check it out. out,
and they're like,
suckers,
yeah, he just got
92
3,200, and I felt really sad. I had that Charlie Brown moment where I was like, doo doo doo, walked away, real sad.
Slowly,
Yes.
slowly, as we all must from time to time in our lives. Yeah, it's always fun to have those humbling moments. Where
Yeah.
you're like, oh, well, I guess he did make. Maybe the gameplay designer knows that a little better.
Yeah.
I don't. All right, folks. That is so. Loco Cycle. It looks like we're having some trouble back there with the Xbox One debug kit, because otherwise we would be showing you some gameplay right now.
So
but
you're gonna blame my hardware, not yours.
it could be with the cables. I don't know. There are some troubles. I'm gonna blame lightning strikes. Is that what we're doing?
Yes,
now?
let's do that. That works.
This just in: lightning has struck the LACC and only affected the GameSpot booth and our demo system. So we're gonna run the trailer one more time and then wrap it up. So take a glimpse at Loco Cycle. What? Got you like speed boosting. And this is like your E3 last year or 2 years ago.
Yeah, this was actually a PAX trailer, so you're looking at more of a 360 build. But what the gameplay that you saw in the first trailer with the 8-bit gag was actual Xbox One footage.
Yeah, that was the Xbox One footage, and that's just like a grueling, like 5-hour no checkpoint experience. You get hit, you go back to the beginning.
There's some checkpoints in there, but they're not marked. So it's you die like, right at the end of the checkpoint.
That better be a mini game in Loco Cycle. No, that would be terrible. All right, so this is you're just getting a glimpse at some old footage of Loco Cycle as we wrap up the demo here. Loco Cycle is going to be a launch title for the Xbox One on the date that the Xbox One comes out, which is sometime later this year.
Yeah, November.
Very cool, Jay. Well, thank you so much for coming on and talking Loco Cycle. Always a pleasure to talk to you, Twisted Pixel guys, and see what creative tomfoolery you're up to now.
Thanks, Chris. We appreciate it.
Very excellent. All right, folks. We're going to be back on the stage show here with some daylight momentarily. But first, we are going to toss it to a booth tour that may or may not be DreamWorks animation related. I don't know. We'll see.
Hey folks, Homer Bar back here at the Microsoft booth. I'm with my man Matt Reed. Go Cougars.
Go Cougs, that's right. Go Cougs, yeah.
All right, let's talk about the NFL deal y'all got going on with Xbox One. Yep. You're about to show off some NFL hotness.
Exactly.
All right, let's do it.
All right, so if you're an NFL fan of any type, this is really the experience for you. So what we're going to show today is both the HDMI in experience for NFL, as well as the NFL app itself, and show you really how that gets immersive with fantasy, highlights, customization, all that good stuff. Nice. So jump in, let's say Sunday morning, I'm watching NFL Red Zone through the HDMI in experience, and I'm just kind of catching up on what's going on in the games, but I don't really have anything going, like my Seahawks aren't playing yet, so I'm just kind of watching this passively. I'm not into it yet. But I'm also multitasking and watching some Game of Thrones. I love me some Game of Thrones, right? With the channel. Khaleesi, that's right. It's really easy to switch back and forth. But at the same time, I don't want to be totally out of touch with what's going on in the NFL, right? So I can jump back, I can go here and I can snap the NFL app to the right.
Nice.
And anything can be in here. I can be playing a game here, I can have the browser running. No matter what, I can also have the NFL app running on the right here.
Cool.
So other ways that it's customized, it pulls in my social feed, my Twitter feed as well. So I'm looking at my Twitter feed, I'm like, oh wow, some crazy stuff's happening in the NFL. Rich Eisen's talking about some play. So I want to jump back to the NFL and see what's going on, right? So, you know, I'm really kind of, you know, enjoying this kind of two-screen experience here, what's going on. You know, and then the cool thing here is it also knows who's on my fantasy team. So we're talking about Marshawn Lynch earlier, right?
Oh yeah, talk about Marshawn right now.
Marshawn. So Marshawn's on my fantasy team, right? And the NFL or the Xbox experience knows that he's on my fantasy team. I get an alert that says Marshawn Lynch is doing big things here with a 36-yard run.
Always doing big things.
Always doing big things, right? So it gives me that alert. I'm like, okay, I got to see that. So I'm still in the NFL app here on the right. I jump over to fantasy, and I can see the highlight on the right here with Marshawn.
He's just getting into beast mode right now, real quick.
Oh, the 36 yards of beast mode right here. So
put him down, Marshawn.
Exactly. And the cool thing here is that, let's say I don't want to pull out of the experience entirely. Say my wife's watching Game of Thrones with me, and I see that alert. I'm like, okay, well, I can also watch it on Smart Glass.
I'll check out the Smart Glass, though.
So Smart Glass, basically, it's the same similar experience on the second screen here, where you can pull and customize your fantasy team as well, and pull those highlights here as well. So it's basically a second screen experience like you see today that we also have.
Cool, and give us the lowdown. This is going to launch with the console, or?
Yeah, so this will be on console day one when it comes out in November. So, yeah.
Cool. So one more question. You guys going to repeat in the Apple Cup or what?
We better, right? I mean, that's the hope. We'll see. It's a big year coming up.
Pullman, baby.
Pullman.
Represent.
All right, man.
Thanks so much, Matt. That's what is it officially called again?
Well, right now it's just NFL on Xbox.
NFL on Xbox coming day one. Awesome. That's great.
All right, folks, from the horror of being dragged behind a motorcycle interminably to the real survival horror of, oh my god, this game will terrify you, it's Daylight here on GameSpot's E3 Live stage show, and I'm joined by Jared Garrettson, the studio director at Zombie Studios. Jared, welcome to the stage.
Thank you.
We're glad to have you guys here. Daylight, you're one of the first things people see when they come into the West Hall here at E3, because you have a banner that's like, I don't know, bigger than my apartment.
That's Deadlight.
Yeah.
That's Dying Light.
Dying Light?
Yeah.
Daylight. Which Daylight?
So
I'm so sorry, Jared.
It totally...
Can you forgive me?
We also have Blacklight, and so half the time I spin those up, so totally.
All right. But I was right about the survival horror part. This
Absolutely.
is Daylight.
Yes.
For those folks who like survival horror, they've maybe heard of this game. You guys been working on it for a little bit.
Well, actually, it's pretty crazy. We got Unreal 4 last GDC, and we started messing around with it. And what we found was we found out that it can procedurally generate things really cool. And so Daylight is a procedurally generated game. So each time you play, it completely changes the map.
Wow.
Yeah, so...
that's a huge game changer for survival horror, because so much of horror depends on the unknown.
Exactly.
And so if you can have that procedural generation, you know, even if it's creating spaces that look vaguely similar, the fact that they're different, I feel like that could just subvert your whole... just add a whole extra layer to, oh my god, this is unsettling.
The worst part is it's impossible for us to demo, because every single time it changes, and we have a lot of experience with horror games in the studio, but also on the team. And so most horror games is hit trigger, event happens, boom, done, scares you once.
Yep.
But with this, it's throwing in all these different things, and I never know when it's going to do, what it's going to happen. And so it's very, very tough, but it's also extremely shocking as a developer.
I mean, that's like the game's bread and butter, though. Like,
yeah.
So that's really interesting that it captures that thrill, that scare, even for you guys when you play through it.
It is very, very tough, because I'm kind of a chicken sometimes, and
Dude, me too.
Yeah,
I do so poorly with horror stuff.
Yeah, and we did some pretty bad things. For example, like the ghost, we decided to choose the color of the eye floaters that you have when you go into a dark room. You kind of see those colors. That's what a lot of the ghost colors come from. So
oh goodness.
With us playing it a lot, and I go home, I'm flipping lights on all the time, because I'm just seeing things, and it's it's mentally terrible.
That seems like really fraught development cycle for you guys. What we're seeing now is some B-roll of the game in action, and this is another one of the salient design points is you're not actually flipping switches, you're just holding up your cell phone, basically. That's the light that you have.
Yes. Cell phones are a commonality now, where who doesn't have a cell phone, and why would you have a flashlight? So it kind of makes sense. And cell phones just have this different, more realistic feel to it. And so we put a compass on to help you, because the world's constantly changing, you need to find your way back and forth. Luckily enough, she leaves footsteps or footprints in the dust, so you can kind of at least have some breadcrumbs so you don't get totally lost.
Now, she being the protagonist,
yes,